So what's up, everybody? I'm Jake Alexander, and welcome to the Twee'quel podcast. Welcome to the 100th episode. I'm so very happy for you to join me today here on YouTube. Oddly enough, this audio will be on Spotify for those who don't check into YouTube, but it's okay. I'm happy and very thankful for every single person that has decided to tune in and listen to this. I always say it. I'm happy you're here. It's going to be a good episode. We're going to talk about Black Adam. We're going to talk about, obviously, Wakanda Forever. Got to see it just yesterday. And actually, we're going to talk about what's going to happen going forward. Like I said, this is the 100th episode. Didn't think we'd actually make it this far, but I'm so happy that we did. It's been a hell of a ride, and I love doing this. I always say that, but just something I just needed to say real quick because I like to tell you that anyway. It's going to be a regular episode, and then we're going to talk about everything, like I said, going forward with the 100th episode. But let's start off today with the news. So let's start off today's news with a couple of passings. We start off with the comedian Gallagher. Now, if you don't know who it is, I'm pretty sure you've seen clips of him here and there. He rose to fame and prominence through the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, being the man with the mallet, the sledge-o-matic who smashed watermelons on stage while also doing stand-up. He's one of the funny, very funny guys from my childhood that I remember. He may actually hold the record. It's going to have to be checked out, but he actually may hold the record for the most tour dates of any stand-up comedian. Like I said, he's been touring since the mid-70s, so he just may actually hold that record. Gallagher was 76. Also passing earlier this week, Kevin Conroy, the legendary DC voice actor, has voiced Batman through many iterations. The Arkham Asylum video games, Batman the animated series where he really got started, even up to the Justice League series. Both series he voiced Batman. Even when he said he was going to retire, he just kept doing it because he loved it so much. Most of everything that most people loved about Batman comes from Batman animated series and comes from Kevin Conroy. The fact that there was two different voices, one for Bruce Wayne and one for Batman, and those two voices being separated and being part of the reason why people didn't know Bruce Wayne was Batman. That comes from Kevin Conroy's voice acting. It's very sad to see him go. I just can't believe he's gone. And like I said, when it comes to ranking Batmans, it's Michael Keaton, Kevin Conroy. That's just how my list goes. And I'm pretty sure there are so many nerds out there who will agree with me. Now, there's really no way to move on from those, but we'll try to keep it going. If you are a fan of the Witcher series, I'm pretty sure you know by now that Henry Cavill is out and Liam Hemsworth is in, but I'm going to tell you why I think it's going to be okay. Now, Henry Cavill is said to be out because of the tension between him and writers and how much the writers have changed the series throughout. He wasn't going to come back for the third season, but he decided to come back when the writers decided that they were going to change things around the way he wanted them to. But it seems now that they've reached an impasse and Henry Cavill is out. It is said that Liam Hemsworth will be playing his role going forward. Now, I'm going to tell you why I think it's okay. The Witcher that we know that Henry Cavill has played is over here. Going forward, it looks like Liam Hemsworth is going to be playing a younger version of Geralt. So it's going to be, we know for a fact, the series itself that's coming out on Netflix is going to be a prequel to the Witcher series. So if you're going to have a younger, more inexperienced Geralt, it would be necessary to have a different actor. So I'm going to assume that it's going to be okay. But with so many petitions going out there right now for Netflix to halt production and to go back and have Henry Cavill return as Geralt of Rivia, who knows how it's going to turn out. We'll just wait and see how it goes. If you are a fan of the Gears of War video game series, maybe you'll be happy, maybe you're not. So there is a film and a series coming to Netflix. The series will be animated. The film itself will be live action. One of those names out there to play the lead character, Marcus Phoenix, is Dave Bautista, former WWE wrestler, now actor. He has been trying to get into this role for quite a while now. So we don't know exactly any details of the series itself. But just me personally, if he's going to play Marcus Phoenix in this series, I don't know how he would do live action. But I think maybe if they do animate it and have him voice it, do the animated series first. Let him voice it. If it's well received, then turn around and do the live action and let him play Marcus Phoenix. If they do it the other way around and he's bad in the live action, it's just going to sink the animated series. That's just the way I see it. But let's cross our fingers and hope it's actually good. Netflix has actually been doing pretty good with the animated stuff lately. You obviously have Castlevania, Intergalactic. If you haven't seen it, I've recommended it a few times. Please watch Intergalactic. It's really good. They've had some really good success lately with animated things. So let's hope that Netflix can hit it out of the park with the animated feature first, and then we'll hop on the train and allow them to do the live action film. Also in the news, Aubrey Plaza is set to join Agatha, Coven of Witches. That's going to be on Disney Plus. It's a series. It's not a film, which, like I said, every single thing that they do when they introduce new characters, they don't need to do films. A lot of the times they just need to do series. I didn't believe Ms. Marvel needed a film. They gave her a series. It was fantastic in my opinion. Now she can join the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Sometimes that's exactly what we need. Aubrey Plaza has already been in a Marvel property. The series Legion is a Marvel property and came out on FX. She played the Shadow King. She was one of the various versions of the Shadow King inside of the series. Now, this is good because the Shadow King actually is a multiverse character. Now, there's no saying that's who she's playing inside of Agatha Coven of Witches, but I would suspect that she's a witch who is an inhabitant for the Shadow King in one of his many forms, and then next thing you know, she'll pop up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe as the Shadow King. Maybe that could happen. I have no reason to believe that it could happen. It's just wishful thinking. Let's see how that goes. We'll wind up the news today by talking about James Gunn and DC. Now, just a few weeks ago, James Gunn was named as one of the co-chairs for all the DC films going forward. Now, he has taken, get this, he has taken to social media and Matador, not Twitter, up on Matador, and asked DC fans for suggestions. Now, that is a very weird way to go about finding out your next DC property. But at the same time, it's rather ingenious because this is what he can do. He can listen to what the fans are actually saying, cherry pick some decent ideas, and then give us what we asked for. And if we don't like it, then hey, he can point to us and say, you asked for it. This is what you got. Now, I know that's a roundabout way of basically telling nerds to hush and let them do their thing. But it's James Gunn. Everything he's done has been pretty good. So I suspect, hey, send him the ideas. You never know what can happen. Hell, even he's floated the idea out there of doing Batmite. And if you don't know who Batmite is, look it up. It's just a weird character for him to think up. Now, personally, if James Gunn is out there somehow listening to this and you want my idea, I've said this for years. There are two specific characters that DC needs to do, and they just canceled one. And the other one that they really need to do, one, which is the one they canceled, is Blue Beetle. They really need to have the Blue Beetle series or film, whichever one they're going to do. They need to have that done and need to have that out. Blue Beetle is such a fantastic character. The other one, Booster Gold, a time-traveling superhero narcissist that learns how to actually be a superhero by going back in time and joining the Justice League. You can't tell me that doesn't just scream superhero moneymaker. And Booster Gold is from Gotham City, a future Gotham City where Batman basically failed because he grows up in Gotham that is still crime-ridden and still poor and is still covered with corruption. Tell me that's not a good idea for a character. I'm going to take a break real quick. When we come back, we're going to get talking about Black Adam. So how should I start out by talking about Black Adam? Should I tell you that I didn't actually hate the movie? It's just that I didn't like it as much as I thought I should have liked it. And it took me a minute to figure out why, and I think I have. I'll get to that in a second. Now, when you think about DC by far has all the most popular comic book characters. If you ranked every comic book character across the board, hero or villain, your top 5 is going to be at least 3 DC characters. Period. For the vast majority of the public, and I mean worldwide, in the top 5, three of those characters are going to be Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Period. So keep that in mind. Now, with Black Adam, DC went into the just overdrive mindset of trying to bring this anti-villain / anti-hero / just supervillain into the current zeitgeist of superhero films. Now, in a nutshell, is kind of the reason why I think I didn't like the film as much, and it's its biggest drawback. See, Dwayne Johnson is very charismatic, very likable. He's one of the most popular guys on the planet, period. Regardless of the situation, Dwayne Johnson shows up and he takes all the attention. But when you think about it, Black Adam isn't like that. Black Adam is a supervillain most of the time, anti-hero sometimes, and anti-villain sometimes. He's not very likable, even amongst the people that are his partners in crime and in whatever. Most people don't like him. He's no nonsense. He does his thing by his way, and he often steps on the toes of even the people that are helping him. Dwayne Johnson is not like that. Pretty much everywhere he goes, he's liked. And the problem with that is Dwayne Johnson is trying to play a character that's not liked, but we like Dwayne Johnson. So believability is kind of out the window. And I know you're going to look at me and say, well, that's crazy. You're talking about a guy that's acting. You're not supposed to judge the actor based on the character that he's playing. But whether you want to admit it or not, we all do it. Subconsciously, but we all do it. Now, the film itself is decent enough for a straight up action flick. Really good fight scenes, really good music, cinematography's on point. Most of the acting is pretty damn good. But I just don't believe Dwayne Johnson as Black Adam. Not enough for me to think the film is super fantastic. And ultimately, the people that he's up against, this version of the Justice Society, they lack. I like Aldous Hodge as Hawkman, but he loses pretty much every fight when he's going up against Black Adam. Dr. Fate is super unpowered, and let's be for real, Atom Smasher and Cyclone are kind of useless. But that's just me, though. I also have a hard time believing this version of the Justice Society has any type of real threat, really, to Black Adam. Now, not true. Hawkman and Dr. Fate are powerful. Not arguing that. But it's obviously that they lack enough power to stand toe-to-toe with this version of Black Adam, which is probably why they brought in Superman at the end of the film, in the after-credits scene. But why Superman? When Black Adam in the comics is more closely tied to Shazam. Very similar origins, very similar people. Throughout the comic run, they've always butted heads. More than him versus Superman. A hell of a lot more. The problem with the film is that it's just not coherent enough for me to like it. Now, I don't hate it. I started out by saying that. I don't hate Black Adam. It's a fun movie. It is very different from anything that DC's done, which is good. And standalone comic book film, it's very different from what we've gotten from Marvel or DC or any of the other smaller films that are comic book related. And that's also good. But DC tried to do something that they've always claimed that they've done and not really been successful at, going dark. It looks like when they made this version of Black Adam in a film, they decided, yeah, we're going to go dark. Got halfway down the road, and it was too late for them to realize that they just don't know how to do it. And that, I think, is why I don't like the film as much as I like it to be. Now, will I go see it again? Probably not. I've seen it twice already. But I will buy the DVD. All right, family, here we go on our way to see Wakanda Forever. Whoop. Whoop. I got a feeling the movie gonna be hot. What do you think, Nikki? The movie gonna be good?
The movie gonna be hot. It's great.
Yeah, I kind of figured it would be. So we'll see y'all in a minute. Now, if you told me I would go and watch Black Panther Wakanda Forever and I would cry, I would have told you there's no way I would. Now, once was enough crying at a comic book movie with Spider-Man No Way Home. And yet, here we are. Wakanda Forever did the unthinkable, what I thought was completely impossible. And it one-upped its predecessor without Chadwick Boseman. There was no way I would believe that would have happened. And again, here we are. Now, I will admit my bias for just about anything Black Panther. I want it to succeed. I want it to be universally loved. I see myself in the franchise, which is the central point to every comic book film that has ever been made, for us to resonate with the characters, to see ourselves in it, find common ground. Not just with the heroes, but with the villains too. Ryan Coogler and company did a spectacular job of using the tragic passing of Chadwick Boseman to tell a great story of loss and rebirth after death and the struggle to maintain one's culture. I love this film. Not just because of the story it told and not just because of the pulling of the heartstrings, but everything in this movie was so well done. The writing, the costuming, the characterization, the acting, the music, the set pieces, the cinematography, everything about this film was truly, truly on point. And for a film, honestly, that is tied so heavily to the loss of T'Challa, it still gave room to breathe life into watching Shuri grow and taking up the mantle of Black Panther and watching Tenoch Huerta become Namor. It could have been easy for Marvel to do just a film about the passing of Chadwick Boseman, and that's all that the film would have been about, honoring him and telling a story of Wakanda piecing itself back together and, anointing a new Black Panther. But that's not what they did. They went the extraordinary route of introducing a new character, new characters, really, furthering the MCU, tying it to everything that has happened and is coming down the pipeline, making us think about what could come down the pipeline. And it's amazing to watch them do it. Ryan Coogler deserves a very huge pat on the back and all the applause he can possibly be given, because he is not only the director of the film, he is also the person who wrote it and then turned around and co-wrote the screenplay. The greatest attribute to this Marvel installment, quite honestly, is the genuine care that they put into the storytelling. The same details that went into the first film and telling how Wakanda came together and the importance of the Black Panther. It went into creating Namor as a very equal ruler, and even so much as a god as his people sees them, and introducing Talokan. It cannot be understated the details of this film. And if you would have to watch it 2 to 3 times in order to catch every single detail in this film, I promise you it's that deep. I could pull this film apart for an hour and still not get to every Easter egg and every small detail in it, including subtle nods to mutants and the X-Men, directly the X-Men, because Namor says point blank, I'm a mutant. And it's very important that he said that, because that is 100% comic book accurate, but that's an entire different talk. I would rather for you to go see this and experience it. I got to see it for the first time yesterday. I will be going back to the theater. I'm not going to wait for this to hit Disney Plus. Not going to buy it on DVD, even though I probably will buy it on DVD. But I will go back to the theater and see this film 2, maybe 3 more times. It's that good. And I especially want you all to go see it. And I promise you, if you do go see it, bring a packet of tissue with you, because you will absolutely need it. What's up, family? So Black Panther Wakanda Forever just let out. I love the movie. We will talk about that in a second. Right now, I got Heaven Pennyman. This is a very good friend of mine. She's my real estate agent for Trinity Services. Real good person. I just decided I wanted to talk to her for a split second and give you some background information. So, Heaven, number one, thank you very much for inviting us out to this event. I love the fact that y'all decided to have this event. Tell me, in your own words, why was it important for y'all to have this event for all of your former clients?
Yeah, so we have this event every year to just thank everybody that's did any investing, buying, or selling a home. And we think it's so important to celebrate home ownership, especially in our community. So this is just an event that we have every year just to appreciate all our clients.
Well, Yeah, right on. So, of all the movies that you could have picked, you could have picked just about pretty much any movie to have this event. Like I said, I came to the one last year. We saw Endgame. When it was just a couple years ago, we saw
Yeah.
Endgame, and I love that too. Why specifically this movie when you could have picked pretty much any movie on the schedule to have this event?
Yeah, so Black Panther to me represents black excellence, you know, and then somebody just said it to me and it just struck me really hard is that you go into a theater, we celebrating all our past clients, and to look around and you got over 100 seats filled with black homeowners.
Yeah, sure enough.
So Black Panther represents that excellence, that, you know, wealth, that love that we want to perpetuate into our community so that people know that home ownership is possible, excellence is possible, and that's what we try to show our clients as well.
Right on. So if anybody out there wanted to contact you all for whatever reason, like you say, you do so many different things outside of just real estate. If they wanted to contact you, go ahead and give them the information and let them know how to contact you.
All right, well, you can follow us on Instagram at Team Trinity or on Facebook at also Team Trinity, or you can contact me by phone at 586-232-9829.
Right on. I appreciate you again. Thank you very much for inviting us, and keep inviting me because I will always keep coming. I will always support y'all. Always send clients your way.
Thank you so much.
Catch y'all in a minute when we get back to the vault. This point in the show sheet, I didn't write anything down. I'm going off the cuff. I'm going off the brain, off the top. I'm going directly from my heart with how I feel about this. The one thing I can say right from the beginning is thank you. When I started this podcast, I was not sitting at this bar with my laptop and my microphones and my headset and a notepad full of notes of things out from the nerd sphere. When I started this, it was just me, a pad of paper, a pen, in the backseat of my car, talking into my phone. We've come a very long way, and that's all thanks to you. We've gone from the backseat of the car to the vault simply because you tuned in and listened. You took a chance. I say it all the time. You did not have to tune into this pokey little podcast, but you did. And here we stand at 100 episodes. But we're not going to stop at 100 episodes. We have more to do. There are more things out there to watch. More movies, more TV shows, lots more comic books, more K-pop, and more things like I intended to that aren't quite nerd-centric, but we still need to talk about them. Relationships between us, relationships between men and women, how to parent, or what parenting even means, what it means to be black, what it means to just live in this world that seems to be turning itself inside out day after day. Those are the conversations that we really haven't touched on that we really need to. Now you might say, well, why do we have to touch on those topics when you can just stick to TV and music and all the little nerdy stuff that you like? We would have to talk about them for one simple fact. They affect everything about us. They really do. You talk politics and you talk about the economy because, hey, if you want to go to the movies and you don't have the money for it, and movies are being censored left and right because of content, then what happens then? Everything is intertwined. No one thing stands alone. And going forward, I think that maybe that's what we need to do, not stand alone. This podcast will go from being just about the nerd stuff and all the stuff I like movies and television and comic books, to a little bit of everything. Mostly about the same stuff, but adding more to it. We're going from Spotify and Apple Podcasts, Anchor FM, and everywhere you can get a voice podcast to more episodes being on YouTube. So you can see me, so you can understand that I'm being genuine. So when things are actually bothering me and I'm angry or I'm sad, or hell, you might even see me cry because I have no problem showing my emotions. It doesn't make me less of a man. You can actually see me. Maybe we can connect closer. I can get comments from you and take your ideas and talk about things that you want to talk about that maybe I didn't think about. We're going to go from news and stories being on every podcast to news being almost every single day. Because when it comes to us, when it comes to nerds, when it comes to just us being normal humans, things are happening all the time, happening every day. And I want to get into all those things, and I want to get feedback from you on a consistent basis. I get feedback plenty now, but I'd like to get more, hopefully. Now, if you didn't know, spoiler alert, Nikki Rev, my producer, is also my wife. And hopefully, my fingers crossed, she'll appear on an episode or two to talk about marriage and parenting and stuff like that. Because like I said, everything crosses over. Everything is connected. No thing shall be left out. And going forward, I will let you know when all those things are going to happen. I will let you know how the schedule will break down when we get to those things. But outside of all of that, truly, like I started this segment off, thank you. Thank you very much for tuning in and listening to me. I could not have made it to 100 episodes without you. I could have done 2 or 3 episodes and nobody was listening. But steadily over these 100 episodes, more and more people have tuned in, which tells me that there's a space for my mind to reach you and so many others. There's things to talk about that we really need to talk about. Fun and not so fun. But that's for a later time. For right now, just to thank you and to tell you that, hey, I'll see you very soon. So we shall end this episode of the podcast the exact same way we have ended with every podcast. And I want you to look into my eyes and understand that I mean this 100%. God bless. I love you. Peace.